the people of South Africa. In forming the national executive of our country, we have had to consider several factors and advance a number of key principles. We've had to ensure that the incoming government will be effective and that it will have people with the experience, the skills and capabilities to deliver on its mandate. It is important that we deploy into positions of responsibility people who are committed, capable, and hardworking, and who also have integrity. We've had to ensure that all the parties are able to participate meaningfully in the national executive, as well as in various parliamentary positions, and that they should represent the diversity of the people of South Africa properly. We have sought to ensure that the national executive is representative of the people of South Africa, giving due consideration to gender, to youth, demographics, as well as the regional distribution in our country. We want South Africans to see themselves reflected not only in the composition of government, but also in the policies and the programs of our government. Given the challenges that our country faces today, and considering the electoral mandate this government must implement, and I mean that we must work hard to ensure that we achieve all the goals that we have set out. And with due regard to this, I've decided to make a number of changes in the government's portfolios. In the course of the 6th administration, I indicated my intention to reduce the number of portfolios in the national executive. However, due to the need to ensure that the national executive is inclusive of all the parties that are part of the government of national unity, this has not been possible. In some instances, we've had to consider it necessary to separate certain portfolios to ensure that there is sufficient focus on key issues. The ministries of electricity and energy will now be merged. There will be a separate Ministry of Minerals and Resources. The Ministry of Agriculture will be separated from the Ministry of Land, Reform and Rural Development. Ministry of Higher Education will be separated from the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. The Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Development will be separated from the Ministry of Correctional Services. There will no longer be a Ministry of Public Enterprises. The coordination of the relevant public enterprises will be located in the presidency during the process of implementing a new shareholder model. However, various key institutions will be reporting to the various ministries for policy matters. The following appointments to the executive will therefore be made. The Deputy President is Paul Mashatile. The Minister of Agriculture is John Steenhuisen. The Deputy Minister of Agriculture is Rosemary Nokuzola Kapa. Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development is Mzwanele Nyonjo. Deputy Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development is Chupu Stanley Matabata. Minister of Basic Education is Siviwe Kwahube. Deputy Minister of Basic Education is Regina Mahaule. Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies is Soli Malati. The Deputy Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies is Mondli Gungubele. The Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs is Velinkosi Tlhabisa. The Deputy Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs is Dixon Masemola and Nkosi Zolile Burns Ngamashe. The Minister of Defense and Military Veterans is Angie Motsecha. Deputy Minister of Defense and Military Veterans is Bantu Holomisa and Richard Mkongo. Minister of Electricity and Energy is Hosien Suramokhopa. Deputy Minister of Electricity and Energy is Samantha Graham. Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation is Blade Nzimande. The Deputy Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation is Nomalungelo Gina. Minister of Employment and Labor is Joe Mosibia and Pumzile Mgina. Minister of Finance is Enoch Godongwana. Deputy Ministers of Finance are David Masondo and Ashur Sarupen. Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment is Dion George. Deputy Ministers of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment are Naren Singh and Bernice Swart. Minister of Health is Dr. Aaron Motwaledi. Deputy Minister of Health is Dr. Joe Patla. Minister of Higher Education is Dr. Nobuhle Nkabani. The Deputy Ministers of Higher Education are Buti Manamela and Dr. Mimi Gondwe. Minister of Home Affairs is Leon Schreiber. Deputy Minister of Home Affairs is Njabulo Nzuza. Minister of Human Settlements is Mamoloko Kubai. Deputy Minister of Human Settlements is Thandi Mahambekhala. The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation is Ronald Lamola. Deputy Ministers of International Relations and Cooperation are Alvin Botes and Thandi Moraka. Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development is Tembing Kadimeng. The Deputy Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development is Andries Nel. The Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources is Gwede Mantashe. Deputy Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources is Judith Nemadzinga Chabalala. Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation is Marupini Ramokhopa. Deputy Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation is Seiso Mohai. Minister of Police is Senzo Mkunu. Deputy Ministers of Police are Pauli Bushielo and Kassel Matale. Minister in the Presidency is Kumbuzo Nchabeni. Deputy Ministers in the Presidency are Nongeba Mhlauli and Kenneth Morolo. Minister of Public Service and Administration is Nkosi Mzamo Buthelezi. Deputy Minister of Public Service and Administration is Pinky Kekana. Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure is Dion McPherson. Deputy Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure is Sihle Zigalala. Minister of Small Business Development is Delanda Beni. The Deputy Minister of Small Business Development is Jane Sitole. The Minister of Social Development is Sisisi Tolashe. Deputy Minister of Social Development is Hanif Hendricks. The Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture is Gayton McKenzie. Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture is Peace Mabe. Minister of Tourism is Patricia DeLille. Deputy Minister of Tourism is Maggie Sochu. Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition is Pax Tau. The Deputy Ministers of Trade, Industry and Competition are Zuko Godlimpi and Andrew Whitfield. Minister of Transport is Barbara Creasy. Deputy Minister of Transport is Mkhuleko Hlengwa. Minister of Water and Sanitation is Phemi Majodina. Deputy Ministers of Water and Sanitation is David Mahlobo and Isaac Sindisiwe Chikunga. Deputy Minister of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities is Mapaseka Steve Litsike. Minister of Correctional Services is Peter Groenewald, Dr. Peter Groenewald. Deputy Minister of Correctional Services is Lindiwe Njalinjali. These men and women that we have appointed to the executive are drawn from all corners of our country. They reflect the diversity of our nation. They have a responsibility to work together to serve the people of South Africa as a whole. None of the members of the National Executive has been appointed to serve the interests of a particular constituency, a particular party, or a particular section of society. Collectively, individually, they are responsible to the people of South Africa. In the spirit of partnership and collaboration, the incoming government will work together with other formations to convene what we have spoken about a few days ago, which is a national dialogue. Through this national dialogue, all parties, civil society groups, labor, business, and other stakeholders will be invited to work together to address the critical challenges facing our nation. We call on all South Africans to participate in the national dialogue and to give their support to this government of national unity as it begins its work. As the leaders of political parties, as ministers and deputy ministers, as public representatives, we understand and accept the responsibility that we bear. We have all been called upon to serve the people of this country, and we will do so to the utmost of our ability. I thank you.
Right, there you have it, the breaking news just in. Of course, changes in government portfolios, some surprises there. I see SABC News International editor Sophie Mukwena gasping there with surprise as we learn of the International Relations Ministry now headed by Ronald Lamola. I mean, does that come as a surprise?
Well, of course, yes, I am surprised, but I think when he led that team to the International Court of Justice, it was a nice way, you know, to kind of familiarize him with international issues, because you'd recall that he went there, he led the delegation when they made that presentation, and he did a sterling job. Many people really commended him in terms of how he handled that assignment, not being involved in international relations, but was able to use diplomacy, and particularly with his skills in terms of law, it came very, very handy. And therefore, I think the president thought that let's bring a young person who will have a young mind and also a better future focus in terms of having enough time to look at international relations. But he's often seen at the international fora. Now recently, he was in the Middle East during that donor conference for the Palestinians, and he interacted with senior leaders of the Middle East, heads of state and government and kings. And also he went to the United Nations some few months ago, where he had to deliver the statement on behalf of South Africa in one of those meetings at the United Nations. So he is no stranger to the world of diplomacy and international relations. But I think now there will be a continuity in terms of the case at the International Criminal Court and also at the International Court of Justice, because you know that South Africa has also requested the International Criminal Court to intervene in the situation in the Middle East, particularly because the International Criminal Court deals with individuals Benjamin Netanyahu and the generals must be brought